Hello everyone, I am the Kenyan American Home, and today we're going to talk about the easiest US visa to process, and that is the visitor visa. So the visitor visa is divided into two categories. So there is a B1 visa, which is the business visa, and then there is a B2 visa, which is a tourism visa. So what's the B1 business visa? The B1 business visa, just like the name, is mostly, if you're coming to the US for business, so you're coming to meet, business colleagues, or if you're coming to a convention or a conference, or maybe, this is also the B1 category is when if you have a domestic worker, so somebody, if you have a butler or your nanny, somebody that watches your kids and you want to come to the US, you can, or your gardener, someone like that. Someone, you have a chauffeur, you can bring them with a B1 visa. But also, so yeah, if you're settling an estate, that would be the B1 visa category. But there's also the B2 category of the visitor visa, which is the tourism. So this is what a lot of people come into the US with the B2 category of the visitor visa. So the tourism is you're coming for tourism, you're coming to Disneyland or Disney World, you're coming to see Statue of Liberty, or you're coming to visit family or friends, you're coming for graduations, birthdays. So this category has, if you're coming for medical treatment also falls on the B2 category of the visa. So, and this is the most, so B2, but the B2 category is the most used category of the visitor visa. So what happens is, if you're coming here for business and maybe you want to hang around after you do your business to do some tourism, you don't need to apply, you don't need to apply two different visas. Your B1 will be able to cover your tourism, or your tourism will also be able to cover, your business. So what are some of the requirements, and what's the process to for you to apply for a visitor visa? So a visitor visa is the easiest in terms of processes, because the only thing you need to do is you need to fill out the DS-160 form. DS-160 form is a visa form, the non-immigrant visa form that you need to complete. So after you complete the DS-160 form, the other thing you need to do is you need to pay for pay for the fees, and the fees for the B1 B2 visa is 185 US dollars. So 185 US dollars. Once you pay that, it will allow you to log in, create your account and be able to book an appointment. So you book an appointment, and depending on on the availability of the appointments, you can be able to schedule your appointment to then be able to go come to the US for whatever purpose that you're coming to the US for. So when you go to the embassy, uh, what you need to have is you need to have the DS-160 confirmation. So after you fill in the DS-160, at the end of the application, it gives you the opportunity to print out the whole application, which I would recommend. You print out the whole application. That way you remember what you filled in the application. Sometimes you might fill something but then remember it differently. So print out the whole application, but also don't forget to print out the confirmation page, because that's the only thing you're only required to go to the embassy to the interview with a confirmation page. It's just one page, and it's a confirmation page, and then you need to go there with your passport. So your passport has to be valid at least 6 months after your intended time of stay in the U.S. But you also need to go with a receipt showing that you paid the 185 US dollars. Not only that, you need the other evidence. You need the other evidence. I believe right now when you fill your DS-160, you are able to attach a passport photo. That used to be a requirement, but now you can just attach it when you are filling the DS-160. So after you do that, it's getting ready for the interview. Getting ready for the interview. So you need you need documentation to kind of prove what's your intent, why you're coming to the US. But really, the three bigger additional proofs that you kind of need to make is number one, and this is really fundamental in you getting your visa, is what is the purpose of your trip? Why are you coming to the US? That, you need to have a good, clear answer about that. You can't, whatever you filled in the DS-160 has to be consistent with what you go and say in the at the at the interview So, what is the purpose of your stay? Are you going? Are you coming uh, to North Dakota to see snow for the first time? I don't know why somebody would come to North Dakota during winter. I love North Dakota. I've lived there. But it's, whether you're going to Disney World or whatever, you're coming to see a family, a friend, or whatever, and they sent you an invitation. Invitation letters are good to have, but they're not really. They say USCIS says the invitation letter will not determine whether you will be issued a visa or you'll be denied a visa. So you kind of need to convince them, what's the purpose of your trip? Is it a genuine purpose that you're going to the US? What are you going to do? But also you need to kind of have intent. You need to have an intention to come back to your home country after whatever, after you've gone and accomplished your purpose. That's very important. So they need to be able to know and hear from you. And when you go, when you fill out the DS-160, when you go to the interview, they need to look at you, the way you present yourself, the way you talk, the way you articulate these things. They need to be able to trust you that your intention is to go to the US, do whatever you're doing, and then come back to your home country. So that's where, things like ties come in, whether it's, financial ties, social ties, familiar ties. What are those ties that, do you have a job that's going to bring you back? Do you have a family that's going to bring you back? Do you have ties to the community that are so big that, you need to come because, that those things are waiting for you. So those are some of the things and ways that you can be able to prove your intention to come back, to the, to your home country. But also you need to be able to convince them that you're able to cater for yourself, cater for the cost of your trip. So, whether that's in, bank statements, or sometimes, they say it's sometimes if you don't have the money yourself to be able to cover for that, getting somebody who's willing to, vouch for you, whether it's writing an affidavit of support to say, I'm gonna be able to cover this person for their stay in the U.S. because they want to make sure that you're not coming to the U.S. to become a public charge, to, start using start munching on people's taxes, people people's taxes that, they're to be used for the people who are actually paying the taxes. So they want to make sure you're not coming here to be a public charge. So supporting yourself, making sure that you can support yourself. So that is essentially the B1B2 visa. It's the process is not very long, and it's, just fill out your DS-160 form, pay your fees, book your appointment, and after you do that, get ready for the interview. I have a lot of information on some of, the questions they might ask you at the, at the U.S. Embassy. So I've done a lot of research, but also I've given you a lot of content in my YouTube channel on how, how you need to get prepared. You need to be articulate. You need to present yourself well. Be pleasant, but also, have your ducks in a row. Make sure you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's. Be ready, be confident, show up, and, prove it to them that, I'm going there, I'm going to the US with a purpose, and after that, I'm going to come home to, my home country. Also, the other thing to know is, like in Kenya, you can be given a 5-year multi-entry B1, B2 visa, but at one time in the US, you can only stay for, about 180 or 6 months. So, and a lot of times you will tell this by your I-94. Your I-94 is once at the port of entry, they'll give you the stamp your I-94 in your passport. That will it'll tell you when you came into the US and when you're supposed to leave the US. There are instances where you can be able to extend your stay, but, for you to be in good standing with the U.S. immigration, you need to make sure that, you leave before your 6 months is expired. And, but anyway, you can always go back and come back. So in 5 years, your visa is valid for 5 years. You can go and come back anytime that you want. All right. Thank you, guys. All right.